It's a big day for Apple. People were lining up early this morning to get their hands on the much anticipated iPhone 11 and 11 Pro. And Yahoo Finance's Dan Howley is joining us now to break down all of this, including all three phones. Look at those.
Andrew brought the purple one.
I did.
I wanted to see that one.
The lilac, I don't know.
Lavender.
Let's pass it around.
Yeah, everyone gets an iPhone today.
Get your paws on them. Get your paws on them.
These are nice.
Yeah, so I was at the store opening, and essentially what they were doing was showing off the new Fifth Avenue store. They just reopened it today after being closed for 2 years. You go inside, and it feels very open and airy, and what they have is they have these different skylights. And so this is me walking down. Just so you know, I used the iPhone 11 Pro to shoot this, and that's kind of the proof of how good these cameras really are.
Yeah.
They do look spectacular. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying that I deserve another job title as B-roll specialist, but maybe I do.
Nice
I'm bringing you on my next shoot.
Yeah, that's totally fine. And you know, I think one of the interesting things about these is how good they handle movement. So I was walking up and down these lines of people, and if you look at the video, the bounce is very minimal, and I really kind of appreciated that. As far as the performance goes, it's a new iPhone, so it's going to be nice and fast. The low light photography is very good. You can actually do things like have someone pose at a bar or something like that, and they'll actually show up and not look grainy and blurry. But you can't move when you're taking a low light shot, because then that, you know, kind of blurs the image.
Grainy and blurry has just become the new trend. I mean, there's that platform VSCO that's all about 90s style photos.
Yeah. I'm not a VSCO girl. I think that's a new thing. Right?
Well, Howley, you know, it seems like the appeal of the new iPhone is really about the camera. So I have to ask you, because we're living in the world, the age of influencers. They have like these gorgeous photos on their Instagrams. I personally don't. Maybe I'll get the phone to look that way. But do you think that's going to be a boon to business when it comes to the new iPhone?
I think it could be. Look at that guy, man. That is a handsome man.
I just took it.
I think he's great. I think the selfie camera is drastically improved. You can tell the difference between even this and the previous generation of iPhones.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want people to think that, okay, you have the XS or the XS Max or something like that, and you should go out and upgrade right away. Because frankly, you know, the XR, the XS, XS Max, those are great phones still. And I don't necessarily think if you're a year behind that you need to run out right now, break down the doors of an Apple store and get one. I think if you have a 7, if you have an 8, if you have a 6, definitely you want to think about upgrading the 7 or 6. The 8, you might be able to hold out a little longer, but I still think that the camera is worth the upgrade. But for influencers, yes, I do think they will use the selfie cam and the 3 different settings on the camera to.
But you've been covering this for a long time, right? You've covered iPhone launch after iPhone launch. How did today kind of stack up to some of those before? Because those scenes we just saw, it looked like it was people knocking down the door to get the new iPhone.
Yeah, I mean,
Was it that or the new store, though? Sorry.
Yeah, it could be both.
It was both. There were a few people that I spoke to who said that they weren't there specifically to buy. They just wanted to see what the new store looks like. But the interest in these phones feels like it's higher than last year, whereas people were saying, do I need to upgrade to a new one? People want to know what the new cameras have to offer. And I think that's because when it comes to smartphones, people look at the cameras, the screen, and the battery. Yeah. And the fact that this has a 5-hour improvement in battery life versus its predecessor. Same thing with the Pro. That has a 4-hour battery life improvement, and the 11 has a 1-hour battery improvement. So you're getting more battery, better displays, and very improved cameras. I think this is going to be a good year, and I don't think analysts were really predicting the kind of outlook that customers might have on these.
Yeah, because when you look at some of the things with the new phone, I mean, a great camera that appeals to a certain person. I mean, personally, I can't really tell the difference between these sorts of things. But you want to talk battery life. When someone who's on the road for work, communicating a lot, relying on their cell phone, running an office off their cell phone. Now you're getting to something really interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I've been using this all day to download and upload, and that takes a 50% battery life already, but I was uploading 150, 200 megabyte files, downloading them, sending them to different drives. That's how we were getting all the shots earlier. But I think that the battery life on this is really, really impressive. especially coming from the XS Max, where my wife would constantly be like, look, do you ever charge your phone, or do you just let it perpetually be?
That was always the problem, and that's always the question marks as you continue to roll out and make these phones better, is if the battery life can stand up. But so far, sounds like it. Influencer, producer, man extraordinaire, Dan Howley, thank you so much for bringing these. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys, the interesting thing when we talk about hardware, too, all the focus has been on Apple as a services company, but now kind of roping them together because people who are upgrading and buying new hardware products also get the services of Apple TV Plus free for a year. Initially, that reaction I thought was a pretty strong and smart business move, but Wall Street didn't seem to agree, as we saw Goldman Sachs saying that might hurt moving forward.
I'm curious, why was it that it would hurt?
Just because it would be a bad thing for earnings. It would weigh on earnings in the future, specifically looking at the next quarter there.
Yeah, but you know, I think management would say it's not about the next quarter. We're in it for the long term. So that would be the response.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.